we are going closely to more hybrid solution. Consider Gen Z. Statistics in Italy tell us that the 70% of them are buying online, but it's also true that the 65% of them wants to go to the shop to touch and see the product before buying. These new consumers are shaping a new future of shops that will have to be digital because the consumer is digital and demands three main aspects: experience, frictionless, and contactless payment. Retail e-commerce has an 11% penetration in Italy that proves us that there is a strong potential in this area. In my opinion, the consumer behavior will be increasingly mixed and hybrid. Probably in a couple of years, we will not talk about e-commerce. Probably we will talk about digital shopping, where all shops are integrated with the three main digital aspects I've said before: experiential, frictionless, and with contactless payment. Thanks.
One effect of these disturbing events is that supply chains have been disrupted, and that means we need to get our goods from closer to home, so this will automatically lead to more local consumption. What we also see, and have seen for some years now, is that consumers tend to focus more on the so-called back of the pack instead of the front. So they don't just look at the shiny facade of products and packaging, but they want to know more. They look at where does the product come from, how was it made, what was it made out of. And they also focus more on the personal and the collective benefits that brands bring them instead of just the functional ones. And the functional ones are just the basic products and services. But they tend to look at how does this brand improve my personal life and what does it bring our society. And consumers are more focused on how can brands help us solve the issues we challenge, environmental, societal, and they tend to choose for brands and companies that do good in that respect. And they kind of start voting with their wallets, you could say.
Here in Spain, we're facing the same challenges that you may be experiencing in other countries. This new scenario is unknown for everybody, but I believe we can identify some common pillars that may help us to navigate this situation. In my case, I was concerned about how consumers will behave in a crisis of uncertainty. Economic crisis, pandemic, war, inflation, how all, let's call them, these catastrophes are shaping their habits, their consumer habits. And I see two main behaviors that may perfectly coexist at the same time. In one hand, the perception of opportunity, that you live once and we don't know what will happen tomorrow. The feeling that these peaceful years lived before are deception and that anything could come tomorrow. And this creates a feeling of carpe diem, buy what you want, how you want it right now. You're looking for unique experiences, quality and uniqueness. And this is happening especially with the younger people in bigger urban areas. On the other hand, we see a new increase in private labels consumption, people looking for security back home where they can work and live apart from all the menace, back to essentials, slowing their pace and decreasing shopping habits drastically. Sustainable shopping, I think, may also fit here. So my thought here is that, again, we face polarization, all in terms of experience and product quality versus essentials and low budget scenarios. So where do you think you may stand here in one side or another? Okay, thanks a lot.
Today I'm going to speak about a trend, having options all under one roof. It's a trend we've seen in Africa for the past years. It came from Southeast Asia. Basically, it's an app where you have multiple options. From a business perspective, it's a very interesting strategy because the growth strategy is always fueled with new services and engagement and interactions with clients are very strong because you have chat services, customer support services, and you always interact with clients. But more than that, the customer acquisition is very low because in traditional business, you need to spend money on media, on ads to get traffic to your app and to convert them to another service. And on super apps, it's very easy because with only your finger, you jump from a service to another. So basically, the acquisition cost is almost zero.
The other interesting trend is really driven by inflation, where we're seeing all kinds of trade-offs in stores, where consumers who have normally shop at a Walmart or Target have traded down to stores like Dollar General or Dollar Tree, which are discount stores. And we've seen that in the share prices, where these stocks have gone up dramatically over the last few weeks, whereas Walmart and Target have seen some significant declines. Part of it is inventory management. Part of it is supply chain, and part of it is consumers, shifting their buying habits. So as we head through this inflationary period, which does not seem to want to end, with the price of oil climbing every day, the price of gasoline becoming more and more expensive, which impacts the medium and under consumers in terms of their income more dramatically than the wealthier Americans, you're seeing those consumers change their buying habits, and they're basically choosing between gas and sometimes food. So it's a very difficult time for some of the American consumers, and I think that those numbers will start to work their way through the economy as well. So it's going to be a difficult 3 months, 6 months as prices of oil and gasoline impact the American consumer. But the other positive note is that personal savings in the U.S. has never been higher. So there is money in the bank, so to speak, that will hopefully keep the economy humming for a period of time as we get through this crisis. So if you're a retailer, stock the shelves with lower priced items. Make sure if you sell food, it's a great draw to get people into the store. And it's going to be a rocky road, but hopefully we will all get through this together.
In India, you have brands which operate out of physical showrooms as well as online showrooms. While digital shopping is popular, it doesn't mean that physical showrooms are going out of business. Physical showrooms are here to stay across categories like food, automobiles, general retail, apparel, but they're going through a transformation. They're becoming tighter, smaller, called phygital showrooms, where showrooms with brick and mortar interface supported with technology to give the consumer an omni-channel experience.
Physical store is not that at all. It's actually a really exciting time to rethink of the purpose and the role of your physical store within your retail strategy. Already back in 2009, we saw the need from consumers to have a much more immersive experience in the physical stores, and this has been accelerated by COVID. And in 2021, many brands have closed down part of their physical retails and focused all their efforts on the flagship stores that became really the home for the brand. The new physical store rules follow basically three main concepts: immersion, community, and exploration. On the community aspect, we see an amazing example from the Anya Inchmark Village in London that aim to bring together like-minded people around different experiences, like hairdressing, cafe, or repurposed plastic bag shopping. On the immersive experience, it's quite easy to think of Meta recently launching their store in California for virtual reality products. But we can also think of the new strategy Swarovski put in place about turning the flagship stores into a candy style, Willy Wonka immersive world of the brand. And from the exploration side, we have an amazing case of Dior flagship store in Paris that really pushed the boundaries of retail as we know it, including atelier, event space, restaurants, and even a private apartment. It's a very challenging time, especially for brands that were born offline, As all challenging times is a great opportunity to bring forth all the creativity.
China has the biggest, most efficient, and quickest delivery system in the world. It means if you're ordering something like food, groceries, medicine, you can get it in about half an hour. And if you're ordering something bigger like a refrigerator, you can get it same day or the next day. This is why Chinese people love online shopping, because they know they can get things delivered to their doorsteps really quickly and really smoothly. In fact, in the past year alone, there were over 100 billion pieces delivered to Chinese people's homes. This means every person living in China was getting about 70 pieces delivered per person in China in the past year. Really amazing, right? Today, I want to share with you two elements of China's metaverse that you should know about. The first element is metaverse as a destination. Currently, there is a destination called Baidu Xirang, created by Baidu, the search engine, and they're hoping that Xirang could be a destination where people could go visit, because there are brands right now that are opening shops on Xirang already. One of the big brands opening shop is Enta, and Enta is inviting their fans and also their audiences to go visit to learn more about their new products, as well as to get a voucher that they can redeem toward any of the products. Now, another element of China's metaverse you should know about is something called virtual idol. A virtual idol is essentially a 3D animated character that has a really compelling backstory and can attract many fans to the point where they have enough of a mass following that they can then endorse brands. So currently there's one really big virtual idol. Her name is Liu Yexi, Liuyexi. Check her out on YouTube. She currently has 9 million fans who are watching her videos, which are released every 3 weeks. And in fact, she's so popular now that a few brands have already hired her to be their endorser, to be their spokesperson, including Vivo, the cell phone brand, and Clarins, the French skincare brand. So a major development in China in the metaverse category, virtual idol, Liu Yexi, check her out. Also check out Baidu Xirang.
For me, it's obvious. It explains why Alibaba, as a global e-commerce empire, they create different sub-platforms to cover different segmentation from mass market to luxury. Each segment is targeting different consumer group, and all their individual purchasing action during consumption paths have been traced, have been decoded for the final labelized data. In that way, they get the first-hand information, consumer insight, in order to help the brands on their platform to optimize the product, the service, and communication, and then land accurately on the right people. So obviously, data is king, but data is also code. Marketing is not a simple mathematical problem to solve. People need warmness, need individual emotion and experience. Data definitely help to better understand people, but it's also important to find a unique way to tell your story, to deliver your distinctive value for the people. So through data, to see and to answer the essence of people on your own, I think is the most important thing.
Commerce is facing great transformation, so in order not to miss the train, you have to get on the platform before it leaves. This is exactly the strategy Nike has been implementing for the past few years to grow and become the most future-proof manufacturer. Nike's long-term ambition is to become a strictly direct-to-consumer brand, and this movement began actually 10 years ago. And Nike is currently leveraging this strategy. Nike followed a few steps to get to its current DTC model. First, Nike hired an emblematic figure of e-commerce and marketplace, John Donahoe, former president of marketplaces at eBay and today's Nike CEO. Then Nike seized its inconsistent partnerships with some distributors, made huge investment to improve its customer-centric strategy, opened new physical stores all around the world, and invested in its digital ecosystem. So Nike impulsed a general shift to DTC in its market, and many competitors are following its transformation, such as Adidas. And by moving to DTC, manufacturers are reaching many benefits, such as taking back control on the brand story, cutting down pricings by suppressing intermediaries, improving the customer experience, gaining total control of the data, and so on. Of course, distributors are negatively impacted by these shifts, so they try to adapt. For example, Intersport is developing its own private labels. Foot Locker is, as mentioned, an upcoming change in its products lineup, and so on. So DTC model is clearly a pattern distributors need to follow.
We have been working very close with retailers and manufacturers in our market and throughout Latin America. E-commerce, retail, marketplace, live commerce, performance, omni-commerce, you name it. A whole universe that is expanding its borders, but at the end, it all comes to data, right? Data, platforms, and the better way to orchestrate all of that in systems. But it also comes to customers' exploding expectations on brands and business. Customer centricity is key.
One of the technologies that we are following with great enthusiasm is the blockchain, which, thanks to its unique architecture, has brought many innovations in terms of transparency and reliability through distributed networks. In addition to the countless possibilities that range from cryptocurrencies to supply chain mapping of various segments, part of our enthusiasm in keeping up with an emerging technology is to see how it transforms over time. Solutions that were initially thought of with a specific purpose are often transformed and gained new adoptions. In this case, we can spend hours talking about NFTs that initially emerged to guarantee authenticity of digital assets, but quickly expanded to powerful membership format with entire communities dedicated to roadmap-based collections with benefits of all kinds. Transforming the market cap of different companies and the way brands relate to consumers. This kind of transformation is still small in relation to all the implications that we can expect with Web3 and the arrival of the metaverse. We must be prepared.